Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nelson Silva, otherwise known as Moshi Bass, and today I have with me the Enya Inspire. The Enya Inspire is a traditional guitar with some non-traditional innovations, such as onboard effects, app connectivity, and most importantly, a built-in speaker. Today we're going to take a look at the basic specs and features, as well as take a listen to some of the different tones that this can produce. For anybody new to the channel, if you are interested in learning more about other unique guitars and other instruments, please consider subscribing. Enya did provide this guitar for this video. However, any opinions expressed are, as always, my own. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the very first thing that came to my mind when I heard about the Enya Inspire was whether or not all of these added features were actually a detriment. For example, I was kind of wondering what would happen when the guitar ran out of battery. So that leads me to what I want to highlight first about the Inspire, which is a feature that I really appreciate, and that is the fact that even when the preamp is turned off or the battery is drained, this is still a completely functional, passive electric guitar. So you can plug it into an amp or your own effects pedals, just like a regular guitar. As for the basic specifications, this is basically a super strat configuration. You've got 24 frets, an HSS pickup configuration, and a 2-point trem. The controls are very simple and very familiar. You have a 5-way pickup selector switch, just like you would on any Stratocaster, and 2 volume knobs. So one of them is a gain knob. It controls the pickup volume going into the preamp, which is something that we'll explore a little bit later in this video. And then you have a master volume knob. This knob is also a push-pull pot. So when you pull it out, it switches the bridge humbucker pickup from a series configuration to parallel. So if you're not familiar with what that means, the simplest way I can put it is that it makes the tone of this double pickup sound a little bit more like if it was just a single one. The body is actually not made of wood. It is made from an injection molded carbon fiber composite, which does come with a couple of advantages of its own. For example, this heel joint is the type of thing you really would only see on a premium neck-through guitar design. Also, the back of the neck has a very compound shape to it, so down by the lower frets, it's more of a rounded C shape, and then as you get higher, it becomes a lot flatter. Another little detail that I don't typically see is the way that the frets are inset on the fretboard. So you can see that they don't actually extend all the way to the edge, and the reason this is nice is not only because it looks cool, but as you're moving your hand up and down the neck, you don't feel them cutting into your fingers. It's very smooth. And on top of all this, perhaps the most well-known advantage of a carbon fiber composite guitar is that it's less susceptible to environmental changes, so you don't have to worry so much about the neck needing a truss rod adjustment. So even with just the bass features and none of the bells and whistles, this is already a solid guitar. But let's go ahead and look at what sets this apart from other electric guitars. When you first turn on the Inspire, there are 4 different sound banks, and you can switch between them by pressing this button right here. They are clean, overdrive, distortion, and high gain. So you can easily switch between those 4 presets by just tapping once on the button that's on the guitar itself, but for hands-free operation, you can get a special foot switch from Enya, which is perfect for performance settings. The great thing about the foot switch is that you don't have to cycle through all 4 of the presets. You can just press whichever button you want and go straight to the preset that you want to use. If this guitar is just going to be like for practicing or playing at home, the foot switch might be more than you need, but if you are planning to actually perform with this guitar, I would highly recommend the foot switch. Once you select your effects, you can output the sound using the line-out jack and send it into an amp or an audio interface or a PA system. You can also plug in headphones to the dedicated headphone jack, but the most important feature of this guitar, in my opinion, is the onboard speaker. There are a lot of different features in the app that I don't have time to get into today, but the main thing is that there are a lot more effects that you can apply to each of your 4 sound banks. At the top of the screen, you can see the 4 different sound banks, and within them are multiple different pre-made signal chains. So when we tap on edit, there's like a full amp sim and different pedals that you can add into the effect chain. And when you tap on those pedals, you can adjust the different parameters of them as well. So with that, let's wrap up this video with a few final thoughts. Is this a gimmick guitar? If you were to ask me honestly, I would say no, because while it has a lot of special features that could be considered gimmicky, there are very practical use cases for all of them. It's a really good guitar for traveling or for practicing because everything you need is already in the guitar. You don't need to bring an amp, you don't need to bring pedals, there's even a headphone jack. And since you can turn off everything and have this function like a passive electric guitar, it's not like it's pressuring you to not use your favorite amp or your favorite pedals anymore. All these features are just there when you need them. So that kind of ties into what I personally like about the Inspire is that all of the added features are kind of like bonuses. You know, if your battery's dead, the guitar still works. If you don't have the app or don't feel like connecting, all of your presets are already there. It's nice to feel like all of these features are in no way a burden or an inconvenience, and they're there if I want to use them, but if I don't even have to think about them. If you'd like to learn more about the Enya Inspire or purchase one for yourself, there is a link to it in the description of this video. This is obviously the purple model of the Inspire, but there are currently many other colors that the Inspire comes in as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video gave you a little bit more insight on what this guitar can do. If you like new and unique instruments, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.